Welcome back to Learning English with Fasil. If you're new here, I'm so glad you stopped by. On this channel, we break down English grammar tips to help you speak and understand English like a pro. Today, we are tackling direct and indirect speech, two powerful ways to report what someone else has said. Whether you're quoting exact words or paraphrasing, getting the hang of this can really sharpen your communication skills. But here's the deal. It's easy to get tripped up by all the changed intents, pronouns, and word order. No worries though, got covered. On this video, I'll guide you step by step through the difference and how to use them confidently, with lots of examples to make everything crystal clear. Before we dive in, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with your friends. Let's spread the knowledge. Alright, let's get started. Understanding how to use direct and indirect speech correctly is key for effectiveness. Communication and in English. These two forms allow us to report what someone has said in two distinct ways, either by quoting the exact words, which we call the direct speech, or by paraphrasing or summarizing what was said, which we refer to as indirect speech. For many English learners, switching between these forms can be a bit tricky. Grammatical change involved such as shifting tenses, adjusting pronouns, and reordering words can sometimes be confusing, but don't worry, I'm here to help clear things up. We'll break down these concepts in a simple way. I provide step by step instruction on how to convert from direct to indirect and vice versa. Plus, I include plenty of examples to illustrate each point. By the end, you'll have a solid understanding of how to use both forms effectively. Are you ready to get started? Let's dive in. Let's talk about direct and indirect speech. So, indirect speech is all about quoting someone's exact words. When you use direct speech, you put the words inside the quotation marks and write them just as they were spoken. No change at all. It's a straightforward way to report what someone said, and it's perfect for when you need to capture the exact words. For context, tone, and or meaning, so if someone says, I'm heading to the store, you write exactly that, keeping it clear and precise. Now, let's dive into indirect speech, also known as reported speech. Indirect speech is all about paraphrasing what someone said rather than quoting the exact words. This means you'll often need to make change to things like tenses, pronouns, and sometimes even the sentence structure to fit the context of your new sentence. It's a handy way to summarize it or support what was said without sticking to the exact wording. For example, if someone says, I'm planning to visit my aunt next week, you might support it indirectly as she mentioned that she's planning to visit her aunt the following week. See, in this way, you are capturing the meaning without quoting the exact words, which is useful for things like news report, summarize, and when you are recounting conversations. So, how a direct speech actually works now? A direct speech is all about quoting someone else's exact words. Like we said, when you use it in writing, you want to put those words inside the quotation mark. Make sure your punctuation is spot on. Here's how it looks in different situations. Using the present reporting, if someone says something like right now, you'd write it like this. She says, "What time will you be home?" A past reporting can be when you're talking about something that was said in the past. You might write it. She said, "What time will you be home?" And I replied, "I don't know." Or finally, an expressing emotions can be in a direct speech, can also capture emotions. Like in this example, there's a fly in my soap, screamed Simone. And finally, we have descriptive observation, or when someone is describing what they see. John said, "There's an elephant outside the window." The cool thing about direct speech is that the tense of the quoted statement stays the same, no matter when you are reporting it. The main point is to reproduce the speaker's original words exactly as they were said, preserving the true form of and meaning. Now, now that we have got a handle on indirect speech, let's shift our focus to indirect speech. Indirect speech or reported speech is all about relaying what someone said, but with a bit of a twist, since we are often talking about something that happened in the past. We usually need to adjust the tense of the original words to fit the new context. Along with the changes in tense, you might also need to tweak pronouns, time expression, and verb forms. Let's check these examples to see how it works. In a direct speech, for example, she said, "I saw him." Well, in an indirect speech, she said that she had seen him. In indirect speech, you typically shift the tense back one step in time. So from the present to past or from past to past perfect, the word "done" is commonly used to introduce the repeated words, but you can leave it out if you prefer. For instance, using "the" will be she said that she was going on a store. Without "the," she said she was going to the store. You see, here both ways are correct, but using "the" can sometimes make things clear. Let's dive into the key difference between direct and indirect speech. First up, quotation marks. Direct speech uses quotation marks to enclose the exact words someone has said, like this: "I'm going to the store," she said. But in indirect speech, we don't use quotation marks because we are paraphrasing what was said. So it would be, "She said that she was going to the store." Next, let's talk about tense change. In indirect speech, we keep the original tense of the statement. For instance, if someone says, "I am reading a book," that's exactly how it appears. However, in indirect speech, we usually shift the tense to fit the context. So the same statement would become, "She said that she was reading a book." Moving on, pronouns and possessive also change in direct speech. They adapt to match the perspective of the person reporting. For example, if someone says, "I will meet you at my house," it changes to, "He said that he would meet me at his house." Now, let's touch on reporting verbs. These are verbs like say, tell, ask, explain, and remark that introduce the reported speech. For instance, she explained that the meeting was postponed lastly. There's a punctuations. Direct speech requires careful punctuation with quotation marks, commas, and sometimes question marks or exclamation points inside the quotes, like, "I can't believe it," he exclaimed. In contrast, indirect speech does not need these punctuations because it's more about the context rather than the exact words. By keeping this difference in mind, you'll find easier to navigate between direct and indirect speech and use them effectively in your writing. Now, let's walk through how convert direct speech to indirect speech. It's all about making a few key adjustments to keep things grammatically correct and clear. Here is a straightforward guide to get you started. First one, First step, change the pronouns. Start by adjusting pronouns to fit the new context. For example, if someone says, "I am tired," and you are reporting this, you'll change "I" to "she" or "here," depending on who's speaking. So it becomes, "She said that she was tired." Second point, shift the tense. Next, you'll need to shift the tense back to on one step. If the original statement is in the present, switch it to the past. For example, if someone says, "I am going to the market," it turns into, "He said that he was going to the market." Third point, adjust time and place reference. Words like today and tomorrow, yesterday, here, and how, now often need tweaking. If someone says, "I will do it tomorrow," you change it to he said that he would do it the next day. Finally, fourth step, remove quotation marks and punctuation. In indirect speech, we skip the quotation marks. Instead, they integrate the reported words directly into the sentence. So it's raining, she said, becomes she said that it was raining. Number five, use the right reporting verbs. Choose an appropriate reporting verbs such as say, tell, explain, or ask. For example, if the doctor says you should rest, in indirect speech would be the doctor says that I should rest. Now, let's talk about common mistakes to avoid when speaking or using direct or indirect speech. Incorrect tense change. Make sure you shift the tense properly. A common mistake is forgetting this step. For example, if someone says, I'm happy, and you don't adjust the tense, you might end up with, she said she is happy. Instead, it should be, she said she was happy. Number two, a mistake. Number two is misusing pronouns. Be careful with pronouns. They need to match the perspective of the reporting sentence. So if someone says, I lost my key, and you mistakenly write, he said I lost my key, it should be he said he had lost his keys. Number three is forgetting to adjust time reference. Time and places words need to be updated. If someone says, I will meet you here tomorrow, and you forget to adjust it, you might write, she says she would meet me here tomorrow. But it should be, she says she would meet me here the next day. Number four is to use incorrect report verbs. Use the right reporting verbs based on what was said. If someone asked, what time is he? And you write, he said what time it was, it should be, he asked what time it was. By keeping these tips in mind, you'll be able to convert direct speech into indirect speech smoothly and avoid common pitfalls. And there you have it. By following the steps, you can confidently switch between direct and indirect speech without tripping over common mistakes. Remember, the key is to keep an eye on pronouns, tenses, and those little words that hint at time and place. With a bit of practice, you'll get the hang of it in no time. If you found this lesson helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends who are also learning English. Your support really helps grow our community and bring more content like this your way. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. This is Learning English with Fasil. Keep practicing, keep learning. See you next time.